Okay. Hopefully I've got my audio issues fixed. Fortunately I didn't do that much work prior. Thank you, Jonathan, for checking in for me. I did just open up another screen, but yeah, for whatever reason, after making some changes, my headset audio just was not recording, despite everything being set up right in OBS. But yeah, I didn't do too much during that downtime. I just added some panels there. Nothing. And set up a hotkey for match face because I was constantly going back to that. But did not spend too much time moving further ahead. Was saying though, I need to add something for a better transition here. Figure out if this is actually what I want to do for like permanent things on the legs. Figure out something here because I'm still not a big fan of just how plain that shape is and just details on the head. Looking at the top of the head, there's not a lot panel wise going on up there. So I might not need to do too much there. But also I feel like down here's a bit bare too. If I go too much detail, then it's just too noisy, so balancing act. Looking at references, trying to figure out what it is I want to do next. I guess I can add a sphere in here and flatten them out for those lenses. Quick, easy one for first thing. And it failed to create it. Why? That way light will also bounce off that lens, not just be emissive or a hole back in there. Um, don't want whatever that's happening with, so extrude that instead. Also under here is too plain as well. inset really. Nah, I don't like the inset. Looks like on the game model they just kind of mapped that area to random spots. There we go, match face there, so it's not a big weird cut. Yeah, there's just not a lot up here on the top of his head. I feel like there needs to be something else. So when in doubt, I'm gonna add a vent. Just need one of them. I'll just array them for the rest of it. Kind of want the vents to go that way. Scale it down a little bit. Rectangular. Increase the number till it fills in. Oh, that array wasn't straight, or the model's not straight. Or both. Give it enough overhang to not have that problem. There we go. Set this panel a little bit too, or increase the height on it. Something to break up the shape. Don't want it to be symmetrical. Do the same thing over here. Move one panel up, one panel down. I feel like the top rim needs something too, but all the original ones have that pretty clean. So if I do it, it will be very small line or something, not a big panel. Just make those panels a bit more prominent by not making them perfectly 90-degree angles. Hey, what's up? Nothing much. I mean, nothing's bad, but just modeling. Pretty good. Pretty good. Just getting to do some 3D modeling, so it's a good day. T3M4 from Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. I've been wanting to make something from an old game for a long time, and it's just kind of the opportunity to do it. Once get him fully modeled and textured, might make a environment, throw it on Unreal. Need a bit more practice in Unreal, so it's a good hobby, or a good test for that. Right now it's just a lot of panels though. This specific model, no, but professionally I am a 3D artist, yes. Thank you. It's a lot of hard work to get to this point. I don't really do graphic design now. Which I mean, it depends what you mean by that. Like, a lot of people use graphic design as like a catch-all for doing any type of artwork. But typically, graphic designers make logos and brands and stuff, which I do not do that. They work a lot in programs like Adobe Illustrator, and I struggle with Adobe Illustrator every time I open it up. I mean, lots of stuff's pretty hard at first. But once you get used to it, it's pretty easy. But anything you do starting out's not gonna be like the easiest thing to pick up on. One of the first 3D models I made was a dolphin, and it did not look like a dolphin. Just what the class assignment was. Yeah, he's probably about 2 or 3 feet tall, like waist height. Kind of like R2D2. Try to get the to not snap. Right, let's try it. Yeah, it's not gonna work how I want it to anyways. It's my second week streaming. So I've streamed most days last week, but I'm still really new to it. Was looking into royalty-free music, but hadn't found anything I really liked before I needed to start streaming today. Yeah, I don't want to deal with copyrighted music though, and getting channel strikes early on. Yeah. What were you learning modeling in? It didn't work out. That's fine. I know a lot of people who went to school with me who did not keep up with it. That dolphin I was talking about earlier, though, I had a buddy who sat next to me, and our teacher said that it looked like a bus. Okay, cool. Yeah, I went to school for animation, but I liked modeling better, so I just kind of stuck with that. That's what my degree's in. Mostly Blender? Yeah. How far back was that? Because Blender may have gotten a little bit easier to use. Because I know when I started, I was looking for a free alternative to 3ds Max because that's what we were learning in school, and I saw the price tag of it. I was like, oh, I'll try Blender, and I was so frustrated. I decided that uh, I would I'd rather just pay for it. But last few years or so, Blender's got a lot easier to use, which I've switched to that for a lot of my modeling. This is just specifically easier for mechanical stuff, so I use it for guns and robots and whatnot. Did someone say something about an electrician? Oh, I did now? Okay, you baited me. Okay, good. It came back. My headset's got this weird thing where if nothing's coming through the speakers, it'll shut off on its own. So I guess I gotta find something to stop that from happening. I'd started the stream earlier, and about 10 minutes into it, I realized the mic wasn't recording anything. Fortunately, I hadn't done too much at that point. I just mostly circled around the model, but not good. Oh, what part are we doing tonight? Just kind of all over the place right now. Just anywhere I've missed. So at some point, I want to address these like pistons in the leg. I want a better transition on this between the shoulder joints, I guess. And I gotta figure out something else to do other than it just be this 1, 2, 3, 4, like 6 or 7-sided shape. And there's some details on the head. It's just kind of like all over the place until I get tired of modeling tonight. Like I've got it marked to go till 10, but it could go later. I want to get the modeling done tonight so I can go on to low poly next stream. Hopefully get UVs and baking taken care of in that one, so I can start texturing it. Also constantly looking at the screenshots I got from the game to see if there's anything I'm missing. So, just so when this bakes, it hopefully will bake a little bit easier. Do a chamfer on this part. Or it'll be worse. I don't know. We'll see. Baking on round objects are a huge pain for normal maps. unless you throw a lot of geometry at them. I think we can make these pipes a bit more interesting now. Oops. That one is in there. So I'll have to cut that. Yeah, it kind of looks like a dog robot. They reminded me of that in the game, where it's like they just all the way they moved, they sat like a dog. Um, like they did shoot stuff and toss grenades. So very angry dog robot. What else I do to? It's interesting shape. But if you've never played Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, I highly recommend it. One of my favorite games. It and its sequel are both a lot of fun. And you can probably get relatively cheaply on most modern consoles in Steam. Or on your phone. But I haven't seen a device I have not bought the game on yet. Despite the fact I haven't beat them on all of them, but I beat it a lot on the original Xbox. Like a summer vacation ritual. I did that on an angle where you're not going to see that detail. Hey, thanks. Thanks for the subscribe. Thanks, dude. I moved my streaming time so you could watch it. Thanks, man. Thanks for the subscription and the hype train. I'm hearing all the emotes and noises that I set up and have not heard before. Yes, they do. Like I had finally figured out why they weren't playing through my headset the other day, and then hadn't gotten one since I figured it out. So you guys just all hit me with those at once. I was like, oh, yep, they're loud. No, I haven't set up any emotes yet. I need to do that still. Which I should probably do that in the mornings when no one else is up, or no one else is streaming, or when I'm not streaming at least. Let's see. I might take you up on it, but I've also like I'm really bad for like starting new hobbies, having not finished other projects. So I've also got some pixel art like tools like Aseprite that I was wanting to play around with. That might be a fun adventure for that. Yeah, I think about it. Part of me kind of wants to do it too for myself, just so I can practice that. It's one of those things where, like, I wish I was better at drawing, but I know why I'm not better at drawing. It's because I don't draw. So if it's an excuse to keep doing it, I might just do that. But I do appreciate the offer. If I get frustrated with it, I will definitely reach out. Oh, I have no idea what I'm thinking about for it yet. Do a birds aren't real thing. That would probably have to be one at least. At work, we would have these for a while during the pandemic. We'd have these events where it was just something to do where we'd have like a trivia night or whatever. And some people would use the real name, and I would just use birds aren't real because it used 100% of the characters we were allowed to use for the app. And then my buddy decided to start using his username as birds are real, just to mess with everybody and me because I didn't know it was him. I think it's the same. If it's not, it doesn't have the underscore. Maybe that might be the difference. In fact, I think that might be the difference because it's whatever the same is on YouTube. Someone had Mech Factory no underscore on Twitch already, but not on the other two platforms. Yeah. That clip you sent me the other night, when he's confronting his son, and then the fight breaks out, and he decides to shout that out, was pretty funny. That voice actor, um, he's not in a lot of things anymore, is he? Like, I know he was in Mass Effect as Aiden, but I always went with Ashley when it came to saving him. But I can't think of a lot of other things that guy's been in lately. Do that. Oh, that's his name? Alright, mirror this over. Kind of like how the head's at now. Detail wise, anyways. Like that needs something there. That's gonna drive me nuts. There we go. That mess to clean up. It's not gonna be fun. Let's merge that together so I don't have that to worry about later. Get that in there too. We'll have to figure out something for the Foxhole stream. There's a lot of prep we'd have to do for that. Because, like, what would be fun to watch someone do stream-wise that also wouldn't be too big of a risk to stream us in the process of doing it? Because, like, Robert Loves Games said, hey, look, I made a factory, and we spent the rest of that war trying to figure out where that factory was and how we were going to blow it up. And we almost did it. So, it can't really be a one where we build a base. And if we're streaming, going behind enemy lines, blowing up their stuff, well, that's going to kind of give away what we're doing. So we'll have to prep for like a some planes or some tanks or something for us to crew and join a tank line or something like that. Or I guess could watch more of Chamberlain's streams and see what he's doing and use that as a inspiration. Yeah, what I need to change my username though on Foxhole. Like I'm kind of partial to it. think some of this that needs detail and I can just do in the texture. I don't have to model that. I'm likely to not ever even looking up there for the portfolio renders. Oh yeah, back to this guy. I think that should be the plane. Work off of for this. I'm trying to get the box that I'm drawing out to go in the same direction as this pipe. That might have to do it that way. Hmm. Had ordered a Star Wars making of Return of the Jedi book the other day, and it finally came in, and it arrived without the dust cover or dust jacket, with the sticker on the back of the cover. And part of me was just like, the number of things that had to happen before that got shipped out as new, where someone had to notice the book without a dust cover, place the sticker on it, then it had to be stacked in a warehouse where it was marked as new, but in a pile with all the new ones, but missing the dust cover, and no one correcting it. And they get loaded up into a box, then shipped out. Yeah, I don't like that. A small inset. Probably not. I don't see them on here in the reference, and I'm just trying to get some type of detail in there to make the legs not as boring. Yeah, I've got like a already dangerous hose going right there on this like foot thing, because I can't like add detail everywhere on it because I think it's just too much information. In art terms, they call it somewhere for your eyes to rest. Nerd. Yeah, yeah. I guess I am a nerd. Can I just bridge curve there? Yep. What? It's not doing that either. Let's see, let's go before we deleted that face. Alright, let's figure something out to fix this. And honestly, that kind of fixes it on its own. Wasn't what I was going for, but I was only really going for a panel there. And you're not going to see the other side of it anyways. So I think that one is probably about done. Should also make a lightsaber at some point too. Do want to make some tutorials. I don't think I'm going to do them live though. Just so if I make a mistake and someone's trying to follow along, they don't realize at the same time I do that I made a terrible mistake and then have to rework an hour's worth of work. So that drives me nuts if I've bought a tutorial for something and the person teaching it makes a mistake and then doesn't say anything until they realize it in the video and you've been following along minute by minute, and then you've also made that mistake. And it's like, oh, well, if I just not done that, you could have avoided all of it. It's like, yeah, sure, it's good to learn how to fix the mistakes, but you could have gone back and put a little annotation that, hey, I messed up here. Don't follow this part. And I can watch how you fixed it versus now having to make that mistake too. Especially now that I've been doing this for a while, because sometimes I'll see it's like, that doesn't look right. But just follow along, because like surely this guy knows what he's doing, and it's, oh no, the thing that I thought was going to be a mistake turned out to be a mistake. And that's no fun to deal with. So if I was to make one, I would prefer it not be live, so anyone following along doesn't also have to spend an hour of backtracking. Sorry about that. This is where having a clear plan before doing an array comes handy. So you don't have to repeat it over and over and over again. Oh, I see it's not even cutting all the way through. Great. I know one way of fixing this. looked into a add-on that would sync people's Spotify with whatever I was playing, but it looks like it was no longer being updated. That Spotify claimed it broke their terms of service, even though it was all still being played on the Spotify end of the thing. It was never going through a stream. It was just syncing people's playlists together. I didn't mean to cut that, but looking at it now, I like it. It was entirely an accident. Oh, I didn't cut it. That's just how big the things are. Oh, that still works. A happy accident. Like that one. Um, that looks a lot better for those pipes. Might need to be brought down a little bit more. Oh, I should probably also add rollers that you'll barely be able to see at the bottom of his feet. That would be a good idea too. Before I do that, get rid of something on this that needed to happen for a long time. Alright, that's better than just being plain. It's never good when the lights flicker. Hmm. So what has everybody in chat been up to lately? Uh, Glad I caught that. Hmm. Now I think it's probably about done model wise, at least for the high detail. I say that there's gonna be like some error somewhere that I'm not gonna notice till time to export. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking more of it's like a rubberized tread down there. Like, not gonna make like actual individual treads for that. That would be overkill in the detail department. Like, you see them from this far out. Because technically I should do this. Kind of like inset a little bit around the belt. But to make actual tank treads for something like this, that would be overkill. It's gonna have like a texture design though in the textures. Tank treads would also have a different kind of sound than how he does in game. When he moves around in game, it sounds very electric motory. Not a lot of clanking. No, he doesn't hover. Like it'll have a tread. It'll just be like a like a rubber tread, kind of like a conveyor belt or a toy tank tread type of deal. But physical metal treads would be more work than they're worth for how little you see these. Which I do plan on animating and moving around the scene once I finish that. So I'll have to find somewhere to rip that sound out of the game. But if I do animate it, these will need to rotate, so I should detach them from the center that they're on. Hmm. Yeah, don't know what that is. That's weird. What's that caving in there? Sometimes when doing this kind of modeling, you have to do a lot of cleanup when you mess up, which can be a little annoying. Then you get stuff like that right there where it's connected that to the wrong edge, which would mess up everything else. Uh, why is that causing problems? Let's go back to the beginning. Let's try not doing this right on that edge right away. See if that solves the problem. It's thinking. Oh, doesn't like that. What about this? Didn't like that either. Huh. It's like it knows I'm trying to cheat. So what I'm doing right now is, because I want this to be like animated on the tread that you were talking about earlier, like a rubber tread, it needs to be separated from the other base that was in it. And when I cut it away, it's giving me issues. So I'm trying to come up with a workaround on it so it doesn't mess up when it's time to animate that. But I've got an idea. A way to get around that. You're talking about the edge is most definitely redundant. It's not needed. we gotta do this so many more times, it's getting kind of frustrating. Let's see if we can at least get this to match it faces. At the very least, delete it and rebuild it. Hey, thanks, man. It's awesome. Appreciate that. How have you been? Yeah, same. I haven't got to paint any Warhammer stuff in forever. My pile of shame has turned into a mountain of shame. Thank you. Hey, how are you doing? Juliet? Learning Blender? Yeah, it's not currently in that, but I will be here either by the end of this stream or the start of the next one. I really like it. This is Plasticity, which is a CAD-like modeling program. Cardboard Factory of Shame. I haven't made much out of cardboard. Oh, it's Plasticity? No, so like I'm gonna work in Blender soon, just not at the start. So like this is a CAD-based modeling package, but I will do my cleanup in Blender. It might be. What are you trying to do? Oh yeah, Blender is a good modeling package. It's just kind of weird. I'd take any story and just whatever you feel like sharing. Oh no, that's good. Yeah, that would be a cool gift. One thing that's good with Blender is that you can sculpt stuff in it. So if you've got something more organic shaped, you can go into sculpt mode and get an organic shape. If it's like you want to make a blaster or something, this might be a little bit easier to work in for it. But you can do both in Blender just fine. Um, yeah, that would be a cool gift though. Oh yeah. I also tried doing it modularly too, so you can get a lot of reuse. Yeah, the boxier stuff is a lot easier to do than organic, at least in my opinion. When I started out, I wanted to be a character artist, and it was not working out. But a lot of people said, "Hey, your props don't look that bad. You should consider weapons or props," and I did. And been doing it ever since. It's something I've considered doing at some point. That would be sick. Now, you don't necessarily have to do it from scratch either. So if you were wanting a specifically a space dog, you could always find a base mesh and then model on top of it, or alter it after having gotten it. That could be. It just depends on how much time you want to spend on it. But if you're doing it for fun, doing it from scratch is not a bad way of going. But for work, I've definitely worked off of other artists' at works models to speed up instead of doing it from scratch. Um, that might be it. Your model size is too small for the sculpt settings. But you can always scale it up and then bring it back down whenever you need it to print. Just try to do it by a nice round number like 100 or 50, something that you could remember about how big you scaled it up by. Oh, the viewport. It could be you scaled it up and then you couldn't see it in the viewport anymore. You might have gone too big. Let's see, I can open up Blender and see if I can troubleshoot that. Mine has a ton of add-ons to load right now. I'm pretty close to the end on that mesh, so it's fine. Yeah, so like if you get it too big, it'll. Well, now it's kind of hard for me to do that on this. But like, see how it's like you're losing the grid? It's called a clip plane. At least it is in Max. I don't know what it's called in Blender off the top of my head. But if you're like losing it like that, it could be that it's too big or you're too far out. Yeah, try going smaller. Because I've got my settings to metric and unit scale 1, so it's 1 meter per grid space. So like sculpting, which yeah. So it might be that your mesh is too big to sculpt on. This is the first time I've ever sculpted in Blender, so yeah, it might be too big. Back up, yeah. So if it's like clipping like that, that might be it. Hey, thanks, caveman. Yeah, thanks for following, Juliet. Birds are real. I don't believe you. It's all government lie. Let's see. I was on plasticity. So my next part modeling on this is gonna be really boring. I'm not sure if I should stream all that because every one of these probably needs to be named or consolidated. But if people want to talk and hang out, I can keep streaming for a bit while I rename some of these things. Something a bird would say that they're real, yeah. It's like the best thing to do to a bear attack is just like get into the fetal position. That's really good advice from a bear. Yeah, you could do buildings with it. Like it really is like a CAD software. It's just more artist friendly. So like if you wanted to like do a building, you could like draw out like a set of splines, and go into face mode and just like extrude out a face. And like it's pretty exact. Like you'll see like the centimeters. So if I want it like 300 centimeters tall, just hit it there. Yeah, you can do all sorts of shapes with it. So like, and you can cut into it. So it's not free, it's paid, but it's not necessarily a subscription. So it could be like a one-time payment. I think the pro version's 300, and the indie version might be a little bit cheaper. Like I think 150 maybe. Let me look up real quick. And it's the sponsored result on Google is not actually bringing up the actual webpage for it. It does have a free trial though. So it's plasticity.xyz. You can do all sorts of machine parts. Let's see, buy. Yeah, so there's a 30-day free trial, $175 for the indie, $299 for the plus. but just starting out, like there's a discount to upgrade to Studio 2 if you decide you ever want it. But I started using this a year or two ago. I think 2 years ago, maybe one. And it's pretty good. It's got a bridge too. Yeah, Blender's also perfectly fine, and there are some add-ons in Blender that have similar functionality to how this works, like Hard Ops and Box Cutter are a good combination there. Like, let's see, I can go. Yeah, I've got them installed. So make a new cube. Or delete this old cube. Mesh cube. Yes, it's good for that. I've made a lot of weapons using it. But you can do similar stuff in Blender. Like, so there's this. That's Hard Ops. I think I have Box Cutter installed. I don't remember. Let's see, edit preferences. I do not. If you look up Box Cutter Blender, though, you'll find a tool where you can do really nice booleans like you can in Plasticity. You still have to clean up on it, though. Yeah, Box Cutter. I think the guy who makes its username's like Master Xenon. It's paid, but it's not like $300 paid. It's like $30, $40, somewhere in there. Yeah, like building stuff though, it's pretty nice for that. You can like array stuff. Imagine these are doorways that I've spent time on making. Like just kind of cut them open. I don't have to really worry about any supporting edge loops and stuff. But Box Cutter does like a similar thing where you can draw out a spline and cut through it just really quickly. Yeah. Box Cutter is very similar stuff with the booleans on it. Just the only downside is like if you want to like make the edges nice and rounded, you'll have to do a little bit more work for it in Blender versus just selecting the edges and telling it to add a fillet. So like doing this in Blender would require a little bit more cleanup with your geometry, but in Plasticity it's a lot cleaner. Now when I go to export this, there's going to be a lot of messy geometry I'll have to clean up, but it's still faster for me to like model something like this really quickly. Like most of this got done on the first night. I've just been spending time doing little tiny details. Yeah, I also have to figure out how to rig them and animate them. I haven't done that in forever. Yeah, this is if it just says 5, technically like tonight's night 6. But yeah, but most of the robot was done on day 1. But I've also been doing this for 11 years now professionally. So don't use that as a judgment for how long if you're starting out as how little time it should take. It's everyone starts somewhere. I can make snowmen. I'll make a snowman here. There was he's referencing, I mentioned when I first learned Blender, there was a tutorial on how to make a snowman, and it was so complicated I gave up. Yeah, it's super quick. Well, back then it was like right-click select in Blender, and that wasn't something that was really explained in the tutorial. It's just kind of assumed that you knew that for whatever reason Blender was using right-click select. So he's like, select the sphere and move it into place. I couldn't select it. I was like, all right, I'm done. But after 2.8 came out, things got a lot easier in it. Yeah, I might make tutorials in the future. But I wouldn't live stream it. Just I was talking about earlier, like if I make a mistake, I don't want someone to be following along with me and then realize that we now both have an hour's worth of work to redo. Yeah, sometimes beginner tutorials, or sometimes tutorials aren't necessarily for beginners, and that can be a problem. I do have ZBrush, and I was doing that for a bit, but then I started messing around with Marmoset Toolbag 5 for with the bevel edge shader. I don't know if you've seen that, but it's a pretty big shortcut. Yeah, go ahead, ask. Um, you mean ZBrush for the low poly? I don't know if I've done it for the low poly. Yeah, if you do a model in Blender, you can export to ZBrush and sculpt on it. You can do that. You'll want to keep it as many quads as possible. ZBrush doesn't like n-gons, so at the very least, triangulate it first. But if you can export quads, it's even better for ZBrush. I just hit open on Marmoset. That may have been a bad idea. It is. I can hear my fans over my music. That's a terrible idea right now while I'm streaming. Um, yeah, so what I was doing for cleanups for yeah, I know Blender's open. Blender's not that resource intensive right now. I've just got a default cube in there. Just like whenever that marmoset scene I was opening was way too many 8K textures and lights, and it's fine if that's the only thing going on, but with other stuff going on, that's a recipe for disaster. But like what I've been doing for cleanup lately with Blender, like we'll just export this head as one piece for a test. Um, kind of show it. I'll go n-gons just so it's a little bit cleaner to look at. Yeah, that's good enough. And or what did I just export? That's an important question too. Alright, OBJ. Everything else will just open up an import and just whatever file type's available, but Blender really insisted on you picking that at the beginning. Where is it at? There we go. And it brought it in sideways. So it's gonna give me some kind of messy geo somewhere. It's not actually that bad. Like right here where there's that like extra set into it. Yeah, depending on your import settings, Blender will treat it weirdly. Like I could have, let's see, import wavefront. You can go through with these settings and kind of have it change what axis you've got, which typically I go through and do, but this is a quick one. But where's that other? I need to find somewhere I booleaned it so it's like super nasty. Like so right here, right, with this kind of stuff going on. I've got an add-on called Machine Tools or Mesh Machine. I've got both of them, but I can't remember which one does it. But you can select like this kind of nasty shape, and there's a option for Boolean cleanup, and it will just kind of like start snapping stuff. But if you didn't want it to like flip it that way, you just so it's like way easier of dealing with stuff. It's like any type of weird extra geo that you want there. Like this one's pretty clean, not too much to worry about, but just Boolean cleanup. And like it'll show you like before you like move your mouse, so which one's going to be like welded to the next one. So the green ones are going to stay, the red ones are all going to get welded over to it, and you can like choose which direction you go for it, which is pretty nice. I think on the actual export for this, I want this to be a little bit better. This is, I want to say it's Mesh Machine that does this, because Machine Tools is the thing I use that does a lot of other things, but I think it's Mesh Machine. I think it's 30 or 40. It is really sweet. It's really awesome. Like default Blender too. Like, yeah, it's worth it. There's also a tool that has a word I'm not going to use on stream because I try to keep it all ages. But I will model it, and you can see an example of what it does. This is what actually sold it to me all that time ago. So like, let's see. Yep, that was right. All right. Let's see. All right. So right here, like this, kind of like you like beveled too much on it. You can click that edge there, and then control click to get that edge there. No, is that it? No, that's not it. It's this edge and this edge. And then there's this tool right here on F, and you can just like drag it, and for the most part I got too many edges, so go back on one, Y on F. Oh, that one was needed, and it will essentially drag all that back. I may have went too far on that one, but it's pretty good at clearing it up. Yeah, I like it. Let's see, let's go before I... Oh, that's why. So like... Nope. Maybe that one was there. But essentially, like, you can use it to fix problems with the bevel. You can also like kind of just readjust bevel sizes, but you can also like just readjust bevels in it too. It's really nice. Like, is that? Is it refuse? Or is it? Yeah, I think it's refuse. You can like change the size of the bevel post making it. You can unbevel it entirely. Maybe not that one. Like right there, you can unbevel it. Yeah, it's super nice. So welcome back. Yeah, unbevel is pretty great for plasticity. But yeah, you can unbevel in this in Blender with this add-on, which is nice. It works for chamfers too. I have tried it. I haven't messed around with it since it first came out. I need to get it set up. Um, I was trying to get it working at work, but then it was like flagging stuff with IT, and I didn't feel like messing with that. Oh, this add-on is Mesh Machine, so it'll have what I was showing that it has a Boolean cleanup. You're saying that you didn't like Booleans earlier. So like when I exported this from Plasticity, it has like all this like nasty loose verts that are on an edge that aren't connected to anything. Yeah, Mesh Machine. I think it's one word though. But you can find it on Blender Market, and I think he's got a Gumroad. But you can hit this unbevel thing, or not unbevel, sorry. It's called Boolean cleanup, even though I didn't Boolean this in this. But, like any of these red verts, when I like slide my mouse to the right, are gonna get like snapped right to the other ones. So it's just something I don't have to clean up by hand. It's another paid one, but it's like 30 or 40. And like it's say like I wanted the other, I want everything snapped to where those red ones were. You can just scroll your mouse wheel, or to another set was. You just scroll your mouse wheel and it's like even fewer. It's pretty nice. But I was using that and like Unchamper and stuff was really useful. Like yeah, here's another one. Just select all these. Alright, see ya, Reb. Yeah, this isn't going to be the mesh that I end up cleaning up for the model. I would kind of like to have, I don't know, I guess maybe I could use this. I kind of prefer a bit more edge loops here on the export. But yeah, this saves so much time, and also like when it's time to like connect these things up so it's not an Ngon, you can always delete. Alt click to select the whole, then hit Alt F, and I'll just like instantly triangulate those parts for you. So instead of having to go through that, I mean, if you need quad geometry, that's not the way to do it. But if you don't, you're like me, like right here, instead of having to go through and like manually connect all that by hand, something's not liking it. Oh, right there. Didn't grab that edge. Yeah, so it's super quick. No, you don't always need to do stuff with quads. I was just like saying, for example, if you needed quads for something afterwards, then doing that wouldn't, like doing the delete then recap may not be your best option. But no, you don't always need to do quads. I use Ngons all the time. I use triangulated stuff all the time. I've got weapons in my portfolio where like that's literally what I did for the flat surfaces. It's no big deal. And Ngons too are also fine on flat surfaces. It's just like when you bring it into a game engine, you might have some issues if you leave it in Ngon. But high poly and like subsurface stuff, Ngons are perfectly fine on flat surfaces. Triangles too. I don't know if I don't think quads are a must necessarily for 3D printing. It just needs to be watertight, so you can't have like a part of the model potato headed in there. At least depending on back when I was doing it, which was a long time ago. Maybe that's not as much an issue now, but back in 2014, they needed to like you couldn't have a hole in it like that. you would need a solid shape, or you couldn't just add a see, you're trying to unisolate, like, yeah, you couldn't just like have this thing here just slid into it. But I don't know if modern printers, if that's a problem anymore. It gets wonky printing with when the layers are laid out. All right, cool. Yeah, look into it before you start printing, because if you've got like a filament printer and you walk away and it doesn't necessarily know the print failed, it'll keep printing out a mess. At least they used to. But I'm pretty sure Inguns and um, tries are perfectly fine for prints. It's just the watertight and no potato headed stuff might have changed. But definitely look into it before hitting print on anything. Which modifier is giving you trouble? When you say place stuff where you really want it, do you mean like just moving it to where it needs to be? Oh, for like a curve? Let's see. Model I made is like massive compared to what my default scene is, so I'm gonna have to fix that later, but right, stay curve. So that part of it too is I haven't done curves in Blender in a long time. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Oh, forgetting it to follow along. Um, I've done it before. I can't remember how to do it off the top of my head right now. I'll look into that, and if you're on another stream sometime in the future, ask me about it. I'll look into it tonight, which I stream every night now, so with the exception of weekends, but even that will likely change. I don't know why the Bezier curve's not. Oh, there it is. I mean, you're good. It's not really wasting time. Like, I'm pretty much done with the model. Um, like I said, I gotta name all these things and uh, merge them together, so it's not a big deal. But I'll look into it later, and if you're on again, I will show you then. Don't get discouraged with it. It is not the easiest thing to learn at first. Saying earlier, my first 3D model was a dolphin. It did not look like a dolphin. I'm not sure what animal it looked like, but it was not a dolphin. The guy sitting next to me, his dolphin looked like a bus. My teacher's words, not mine. Yeah, that's the way to do it. Making a library of stuff, then copying and pasting and reusing. I made these vents once and reused them all over this robot. Yeah, anything you can get reuse out of is the way to do it. Doesn't like that. Hmm. Non-manifold body. So the software isn't magic. There is stuff that it will not like doing. Sometimes you kind of trick it into doing what you want, but there is actual math involved with it. It will not let you fake some things. Let's see. Is that what was causing the alarm? No, wasn't it? That's probably it. Let's see. Yep, that was it. Imagine it's the same over here. Oh, that one didn't have a problem. Yeah, it not really having a lot of verts and edges that you have to clean up on is nice. When you run into a problem with it though, it's funny. The things in like regular box modeling software that's super easy is not necessarily the easiest to do. Like right now, if I like draw out a box, if I just want to like move, like you can't really grab them by verts. You can only do that with splines. But if I want to like move this edge up, that's no big deal. Same way you do it in Blender. But once this mesh starts getting really complicated, it will not be something they're gonna be cool with. Grabbing and just moving. Let's see. So like even right now, like that would be a okay thing, but it's like it's gonna take all of them. I can't just move this one here. I would have to add a cut. It's fine with it there. But then like say you boolean it, do that one, but it'll very quickly get to where it's not gonna let you move stuff. Like on this guy here, I can move that, but I can only move it up. It's not gonna let me go up and down. It'll start making things difficult. But if you know what you're doing and you can think ahead on it, you can avoid running into too many issues. You can also do some pretty interesting stuff with curves too. Do a lot better with spline curves instead of line segments. So you got like a edge there and one here. You can loft between these edges and get some pretty nice shapes out of it. And like if you wanted that to be solid, you could go to thicken that a solid shape. A lot of neat stuff in it. No, I've said I've got this stream going till 10, but I might call it a night tonight. That way I can name all this and not bore anyone on the stream. Just get back to something interesting tomorrow. Which it'll probably still be mostly clean up, but I'll get that done in Blender tomorrow with on stream. I'll try to get this ready to export for that. I'll wait to export just so I can show how I do it, but the naming part is not going to be the most exciting thing to do. So thanks for hanging out. Thanks for all the people who subscribed and followed today. That was awesome. I appreciate it. Have a good night.